What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really moved in, go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid pulled lower a little bit, 0.69%, nothing overly crazy. After hours, it seems like it wants to recover. 215 the low, 222 the high, and very low volume. So 60 million shares being traded, 161 is the average. It wasn't just Lucid, it was pretty much the broader market that was all experiencing lower volume though. But even though we did have lower volume, big money was buying the dip. And I know that does always sound weird to say when we are red and big money buys, but that is truly what did happen. So of course, I think today you did have shorts fairly active and algorithmic trading really suppressing Lucid. But on the secondary market, you saw roughly 4 transactions that were sells. Everything else was buys. So legitimately big money was buying the dip. Even after hours, like I said, it's going up slightly. There was a lot of random transactions. So 5.3 million, 7.9, 5.3, 2.1. So why they are buying, I'm not really sure, but all I know is institutions seems to have really been buying the Lucid dip today. So let me know your viewpoint on that, but there wasn't really anything new from Lucid, no SDC filings, no press releases. So market was kind of digesting now their earnings. So going forward, all of that good, bad, and the ugly is now priced in. And then we did also get a couple new ratings that did come out. So now the market was digesting that. You kind of have polar opposites. You have $7 buy by Ladenburg, then you have a $1 sell by Bank of America. As I mentioned a couple of videos ago, John Murphy is no longer the EV analyst for Bank of America, so you have this individual going forward, but Bank of America didn't even participate in the Lucid earnings. So it is what it is. So yeah, kind of polar opposites. As a consensus though, over the last 3 months, you have $3.23 as a price target, representing a 48.85% upside. Most likely, we still will be seeing a couple other new ratings over the next couple trading days, whether it be tomorrow or possibly Monday, because there most likely is going to be, probably, I would assume, 2 or 3 more at the very bare minimum. But nonetheless though, when it comes down to shorts, they did increase 10 million shares. So this obviously explains exactly why Lucid did close in the red. You had algorithmic trading really suppressing Lucid. You had shorts doubling, or I guess tripling or whatever down. And then you had big money buying. But of course, algos and shorts are the big forces. So this is why Lucid did close in the red. 31.74% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 398.39 million shares overall are being shorted. So definitely interesting to see. When it comes to options though, you had 1 million in calls, 395,000 in puts. So very low volume, which kind of matches with the common stock, of course, but 53% of all the options being done were bearish in nature. This one clearly does stand out. So roughly 97,000 between 1150 and 1155. And if we kind of pull this up, orient it based on the premiums, you do see most of it was bullish with exception of one. So multi-leg transaction, but it does look like they are kind of targeting September 5th, 2025, $3 strike price, and they did pay 6 cents, so their break even is 306. So definitely good to see. So there's a certain level of optimism, of course, on the table. From the bulls standpoint, there is a consensus for it to be kind of roughly between that 2 and 250 for this week. Going into next week, that's where you see a nice recovery anticipated. And then bears, they are anticipating for it to be sub roughly 250 for the most part. With tomorrow being Friday, just take note of this. So you do have 3,000 at that $2 strike price, 51,000 at that 250, and then 72,000 at that 3. So for whatever reason, if Lucid actually does move higher close to that 250, you might see shorts wake up a little bit more and double down to ensure that it does close below 250. So this is why shorts and market makers have a financial interest in having the majority of this expire worthless. So some sides of manipulation as per usual, but with it closing at 217, it landed exactly on this S2. So that's going to be a key diamond support that you really want to watch for it to hold in the next couple of trading days. If not, you will see most likely that $1.93 being hit next. But flip side, if you do see and anticipate a recovery, 232 and then 257 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And like I said, other than analyst ratings, there really isn't any articles coming out on the actual chart itself. It is now below that 50-day moving average, 100 and also 200, very oversold. So a good piece of news that comes out specific to Lucid or the broader market, you could see a very nice recovery. But as far as this, if things kind of stay the status quo, shorts, their next plan is to break it below that 217, breaking it down even further. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Did you buy? Did you sell? What's your overall thoughts from their earnings? I did do a poll on Twitter just to get people's perspective, and it looks like 47%, wasn't that many votes, only 266, but of that, 47% was rather disappointed from their earnings, 28 or 29% missed but hopeful. So I think there is a certain level of optimism still among Lucid investors. And I was actually going through some of the old transcripts. Let's Go Lucid actually on Twitter brought it to my attention, but Adam Jonas, who again, similarly to John Murphy, is no longer a analyst for Morgan Stanley, so it's a new individual, but nonetheless, Mark kind of did allude to this whole Uber deal. So just reading Mark's response to Adam Jonas's kind of AI type of question and just partnership. So Mark did mention that we have extensive discussions with potential partners to partner on this particular topic, but also with that, I just said, with the goalpost shifting, we're also analyzing whether it'd be worthwhile for us to completely install them, but we haven't made a decision yet. So this is why I and many other individuals out there listen to and decode every single word that is stated by Mark, because there is certain Easter eggs, even though at the time that might have just been, hey, we have another partnership. We've heard that time and time again. But this one, he kind of worded it in a special way, kind of shows that they were truly coming to some sort of agreement. And at the same time, Mark on Bloomberg did mention that this whole kind of agreement has taken roughly 6+ months. So maybe Morgan Stanley and Adam Jonas kind of knew about this, and this is why this question was being posed. So it's kind of interesting. This is why I always go over a lot of the data, because sometimes whenever you see some abnormal buys, for instance, on the secondary market or even the dark pool, it is maybe institutions buying for an actual reason, even though that reason and whatever might not come to fruition for 6+ months. They are buying most likely for an actual purpose. That's just my viewpoint. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not. You guys do your own due diligence, like I said. But with all that, I appreciate all of you watching, and let me know, what's your next kind of move with Lucid? Do you think that it's going to kind of just stay stagnant up until, let's say, the shareholder meeting, which is on the 18th, or do you think that Lucid actually does have something in their back pocket that they're going to put out to really cause and stimulate some buying? So what's your kind of viewpoint on all that? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.